US midterm elections are next week. All signs are pointing to a strong Republican showing that would result in a switch of party control in the House and possibly even the Senate. Joining me live is former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. Good to see you again. Republicans generally have midterm history on their side, Mick, and hammering the Biden administration on supporting policies that they argue exacerbate inflation. So how are we looking with less than a week to go, or about a week to go now? Is there a lot of voter discontent with how the economy is tracking?
Yeah, Kenny, by the way, thanks as always for having me. You're right. Traditionally, the party in power in the White House does really poorly in their first midterm. Donald Trump lost control. The Republicans lost control of the House when he was president in 2018, and here we are again in 2020. This is a repetition that goes back 100 years in my country. Yes, I think the issue here is inflation, and I think the difficulty is this. The reason the Republicans stand to do well is that the Democrats continue to talk about abortion. Which is an important issue for some people, but it's not nearly as important to undecided voters as is the economy. A recent poll here released just today showed that amongst undecided voters, more than 50% consider the economy to be their number one issue. Only about 15 or 16 consider it to be abortion. Yet the overwhelming majority of Democrat television ads talk about abortion, and the overwhelming majority of Republican ads talk about inflation. So if you get down to the final couple of weeks, actually just the last week, people start to look around as to who cares about what they care about. And right now, if you care about inflation, you're only hearing from the Republicans. What
about Joe Biden's popularity? You mentioned the ads there. Biden's approval rating stands at about, I think, 41%, with the disapproval rating at 54%. Is President Joe Biden now an easy target in ad campaigns that no doubt will be running this week?
Yeah, he is. And it's just, those are brutal numbers, by the way, for a president going into a midterm. Those are actually lower in some circumstances than Donald Trump's were in 2018. And I was in the White House at the time. We just got crushed in 2018. I think we lost 38 seats. Yeah, it's really hard to go into a midterm with an unpopular president. They've kept Biden mostly at home over the last couple of days and have trotted out former President Barack Obama, who's now making what we call the closing argument in the last week of the campaign, and he'll be all over the country. We understand that Joe Biden may be out in Pennsylvania. It's very close to his home state. That would make some sense, but he won't be going across the country like President Obama will. President Obama is probably the most popular Democrat right now nationwide, and if I were the Democrats, I'd be doing the exact same thing.
Is he having an impact, though, to slow Republican momentum?
Yeah, it's unlikely, Kenny. It's unlikely he's even meant to try to slow momentum. What he's trying to do is make sure that the Democrats who are supposed to vote. I say it before, I'll say it again. We do not have compulsory voting in my country. And the last week of the campaign is very, very often focused on get out the vote, what we call GOTV, making sure that the people who should vote for you actually go and pull that lever in the ballot box next Tuesday, or vote early between now and then. So I don't think Barack Obama is out there talking to independent voters. I've seen some of his speeches. They're very, very hard Democrat speeches. My guess is he's designed to make sure that the Democrats who might be a little bit soft on voting because they're really displeased with Joe Biden still show up to vote for Congress and for governors and senators.